Now that this NFL season is officially over, and the book on this season is officially closed, before the football world temporarily moves on from this topic, let me throw my hat into this NFL script conversation. Unlike most of my stuff, this ain't a research video or a video where I'm trying to be as objective as possible. It's an opinionated video. Since everybody's got one, I figure I got just as much a right to share mine. So I've watched every Thursday, every Sunday, every Monday, every Saturday morning. All in all, I loved it. I'm a football fanatic. Not to mention the NFL has a truly great product, but they refuse to get out the way and let it be great. And the constant interference is clouding up the sport. My fear is that eventually this officiating problem that they deny exists will do some real damage. It's already scarred certain teams and certain fan bases, but if it continues, it could hurt the league as a whole. So this is a quick video from a very concerned fan.
When you look at officiating, I don't think it's ever been better in the league.
So the league's in a great spot with talent and storylines and character from top players, teams having success with different styles. Like, the games are great, the theater is great, but theater doesn't work when you can see behind the curtain. Have you ever watched a show and get really into it? They got a great set of protagonists, a great set of antagonists. The goals are clearly defined, it's compelling, and makes sense. But as you get closer to the season finale, it starts to become clear how the writers want it to end. In a show that made sense the whole season, certain things start to happen that don't make sense at all. And then well-written characters start doing random things as the writers force an ending that ruins the whole show. I'm not saying it was actually written or that the outcome was actually forced, but I am saying that by the end of the season, I felt the exact same way that I felt at the end of Game of Thrones. If you haven't seen the show, that is not a good thing. Great show, bad ending, this past season in a nutshell. The Chiefs are a great team, and they might have won anyway. But don't decide it on a penalty that wasn't called the whole game. It robs the Eagles, robs the fans, and it even robs the Chiefs. Look, you'll always take the win, but you'd rather do it cleanly. You don't want the conversation to be about refs and penalties. You'd rather the convo be about the potential next GOAT. So the rules and the refs are really hurting the league, but the league is too blind or too stubborn to see it. They keep breaking viewership records every single year, so to them they're doing great, but they could be so much better. So people will still watch next year and the year after. But if rumblings that the league is rigged just continue to go ignored, I can promise you intrigue will die off over time. I've seen big companies that was on top for decades. I'm talking about companies that was a fixture in American culture. And now we talk about them like they was urban legends. It would take 20 years for the NFL to fall off like that. I mean, 20 years of mismanagement. They just got too much going for them. They got all the star players, dudes that were marketing in college. These organizations are institutions deeply rooted into their communities. But you gotta keep the game pure. And even if it is pure, it doesn't look it. And how it looks is what matters to the people you call, quote, viewers. Things can change fast with complacency or corruption. And I think the NFL is suffering from at least one of those. Alright, real quick before we jump back in, a quick word from today's sponsor, Aura. As a person who typically does research for videos, I can tell you, anybody can find anything on the internet. This includes your full name, your personal email, your home address, your phone number, and even your relatives. I Googled myself to test it out and I found my information, which made me upset, but then I realized something. All the information was old and outdated, and it might have something to do with today's video sponsor. The reason the information is accessible in the first place is due to data brokers who profit from selling your information. They sell it to the robocallers, telemarketers, spammers, and those types who want to learn more about you to try to sell you products. So I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, Aura, and how they can help you combat this issue. So Aura will identify the data brokers who are exposing your information and automatically submit opt-out requests. They'll even opt you out of junk mail and telemarketing lists. So when your phone rings, it's actually somebody you want to talk to. You can use my link, aura.com, officiating.com/FlemLo to try Aura free for the next 2 weeks. Use the link in the description or scan the QR code. Aura also monitors your emails and passwords to see if they was involved in a data breach or exposed to the dark web, and they give you recommendations on what you should do and how you should best handle the situation at hand. Aura's app also features a VPN, a password manager, real-time credit and identity theft monitoring, internet parental controls, and they protect your devices from malware. They got almost every internet safety tool that you'll ever need all in one app. So let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online. Sign up right now with my link and get a 2-week free trial. You'll be shocked at how much of your private information Aura is able to find over them 2 weeks. So go to aura.com/FlemLo to start up your 2-week free trial today. It's also linked below down in the description, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. Man, shout out to Aura once again for sponsoring the video. Without further ado, time to jump back in. So Arian Foster recently set the internet on fire. Dude could win against a linebacker, a wolf, or the algorithm. The former All-Pro's always been an independent thinker, never been afraid to share his controversial takes. That said, most fans understood the man was trolling, so they've been having fun with it, running wild on social media. But like any conspiracy theory, there's a section of people who really believe this is 100% true. And look, I can see how they came to this conclusion. The amount of game deciding calls in big games has gotten crazy, and the NFL refuses to do things that seem obvious to improve the situation, even if it's marginal improvement. Making the refs full-time, defining what a catch is, adding a sky judge to the officiating team. Super basic steps that's been laid out for years. The first iteration of the XFL used the sky judge, and despite the fact that they're bringing in more money than ever, for some reason they've continued to ignore these issues. Then Roger Goodell has the nerve to come out and say that officiating in the league is as good as it's ever been. Why is the standard so low? Shouldn't it be better than ever? Not to mention it's actually worse, and that's what made me make this video. While I personally don't buy into the league is rigged thing, or at least I don't think it's as straightforward as some people think. So you've got several levels of this whole conspiracy theory, and I'm talking about this now almost trying to see where I stand. So the top level conspiracy theorists think there's actual scripts and that Arian Foster was serious when he said what he said. But let me ask you, how many commercials have you seen with athletes in them and then thought, you know what, dude's a really good actor?
Hey doc, I've been having a serious problem and I just don't know what to do. You're the only true person that I can come to with this.
So a script suggests a league-wide commitment to the scam, and I don't believe they could pull it off for even a week without messing up. Some random cat who got cut would have leaked the script years ago, and somebody like Antonio Brown would have been on live stream rehearsing his lines.
James Harrison had a legal helmet.
So it's not that I think they're above it all morally, I just don't believe they're competent enough to pull it off. But the bottom floor of the conspiracy theory is a lot more plausible, and I ain't saying I agree, but I can follow the logic. The bottom level thinks the NFL's cultivated an environment where they can easily slide close games whichever way they want, and the environment they created allows them to do it undetected thanks to vaguely written rules that are up for interpretation. So you know how every year they always give those points of emphasis? Why not make it a point of emphasis to not call ticky-tack penalties right at the end of big games and decide the outcome with a flag? Unless it's like this. This is when you throw it.
But that should have been a penalty. Sean Payton is justifiably upset.
In the NBA, they say the refs swallowed their whistles in the playoffs. And there used to be a similar sentiment in the NFL. The idea was that nobody wants refs to decide these very important games, so they just call things that are obvious. But the sentiment has all but disappeared from the league, as the refs had a fingerprints all over the postseason. This year, last year, remember 2019? Almost every single year. You got flags deciding Super Bowls, and I can't think of a single good reason as to why that is. So this is not an overreaction to one call. If not for the recent track record, this wouldn't be a big deal. If you're generally good, I give you the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to NFL refs, I simply don't trust them. Dude did grab his jersey, though it didn't affect the route, but in full speed you can see how a ref could throw this flag. But when I think of all the BS they've been on for years now, I start to realize this is gonna be a problem every season. And this year it may have worked out in your favor, so you cool with it, but when it don't, you'll probably sing a different tune. The arrogance of the refs turned me against them after 2019 when they blew that PI call. I was actually at that game. This was the easiest call in the history of the NFL playoffs, yet they botched it and cost the Saints a chance to go back to the Super Bowl. The next year they implemented the ability to challenge PI, which was a step in the right direction, but who wants to make progress? Starting week 3 of that season, NFL coaches lost 27 of 28 pass interference challenges. Bro, and this included some obvious calls. And the refs sit there and smirk because they knew they was untouchable. It was a big middle finger to the integrity of the game. I never forgot how they put their egos above their jobs. How dare you strip them of some power? You gonna question our judgment? Like it had that kind of feel. Then at the end of the season, they pointed and said, see, no calls were even overturned. We clearly don't need this rule. Now you could challenge pass interference, but not defensive holding. That was 3 or 4 years ago now, so if we kept it, it may have been expanded. I don't even remember if the Eagles still had a challenge, but if they could have challenged this call, I think it would have helped a lot. To be clear, I don't think the call would have gotten overturned, but I do believe that more people would have been satisfied with the process, would have felt like they really looked at it and we really got a good explanation. Cause in the moment it felt cheap, like they was bailing the Chiefs out. Why write rules that are hard to interpret? You making a rule book. It's not abstract art. So if I ask a question, I gotta try to answer it. And I know I don't have all the info, so I'm making logical conclusions based on what I see. I thought of 3 possible reasons why the NFL seems content with officiating that's mediocre at best. Possibility number 1, maybe they're incompetent. Possibility 2, it's all about control. Or possibility 3, maybe it's just optics. And the bonus possibility is fear. Now look, I didn't spend a whole lot of time putting these together, so some of these categories maybe could fit into the other one. So let me lay these out real quick before I say which one I believe. The first theory is simple. Take 2 seconds to lay out. Maybe they're incompetent. Maybe they think the way they handle rules is actually good. Maybe they think there is no better way to define what a catch is. The second theory would align with the people who believe that there's some real truth to the NFL script theories. You could argue that the rules were made intentionally vague, giving refs control of games without easily being detected. I'm not saying they out here fixing games, bro. I don't know. I'm just saying vague rules would make it easier to do.
For first.
Which is
The purple.
It's kind of like when I play any type of game with my son. He just slowly alters the rules so that he wins no matter what. Vaguely written rules actually give a lot of power to whoever the person is that's enforcing said rules. Because whenever it's convenient, I could throw a flag or not. I could call that catch a catch, or I can call that catch a drop. I could call defensive holding on damn near any play. And if I let you play the whole game, physical and handsy, and that's offense and defense, I'm talking DBs and receivers, I let you play the whole entire game like that. Then on the game deciding play, I want to throw a ticky-tack flag. Theory 3 would be the optics. They want to look like they're right. They got it all under control. Expert knowledge of the game. If that's true, vague rules would actually shield the refs from accountability. It's hard to be wrong about something that's up for interpretation. Usually when they clearly blow a call in any game, afterwards they put out a bogus statement to explain why they're right. Like when you're dealing with the egos of 32 billionaires, they're gonna want to look right. So theory number 3 is the most plausible to me, and I think it brings some side effects that really hurt the game. I don't believe the league is out here really scripting games. I do believe the sloppy rules allow the ref to dictate outcomes. Like any ref gonna have some bias. That's a part of being human. But vague rules give you more freedom to exercise that bias. So I don't think control is actually the cause. I just think control is the effect. It's what inevitably happens when a famously unreliable eyewitness is asked to be the on-scene detective, the judge, the jury, the appeals court review board. Like it's all on them and they cannot handle it.
It was over unnecessary roughness on number 52. Excuse me a minute.
Okay. Mike, this is like a...
Unnecessary roughness on the kicking team number 92. 52. Unnecessary roughness on the receiving team, number 57. Those fouls offset. There's also a holding. Number 92.
And it's not all their fault. Due to a poorly written rule book with rules that seem fluid or up for interpretation, the league's taken a job that's extremely hard and made that joint damn near impossible, bro. The league has given refs who aren't even full-time employees way too much power. Like, at least let them sit at the round table once before you put them on the battlefield trying to wield Excalibur. And that's not on the refs, like, that's on the league. They not giving these dudes the tools to be as proficient as they could be. Bro, the NFL has seasonal employees, deciding dudes' legacies that last forever. These dudes should be getting in reps year round so they could really dig down and take pride in their profession. I know they won't be perfect. I'm not asking for perfection, but obviously there's gains on the table to be had. So this is usually the part of the video where I optimistically spout off ways that I think the problem could improve. But after Goodell said the refs are good as they've ever been, in that moment, my pessimism awakened with a fury. Maybe fans make peace with it and accept it as it is. Or maybe the people need to get over it crowd wins out in the end. Or it could play itself out like the gaming industry, where most gamers hate the companies that publish their favorite game, but they're stuck buying from them because the market's been monopolized. So it's this game or nothing. There's nowhere else to go. But operating that way is completely unnecessary. It breeds a deep resentment and a constant search for a better alternative. And while I'm a fan, I don't know if the XFL or USFL can step into those shoes. You know how many games try to replace Call of Duty every year and they still break more promises than a college football recruiter? Like I said, I made this video because I love the NFL. I want to see the league healthy long term. Get on your shit. I'm hoping they can figure it out before this thing is too far gone, because complacency right now could cause long-term consequences. Now, I almost forgot my bonus reason as to why the league is okay with mediocre officials. The reason's fear. Fear if they change something, they'll break the whole system. And this is understandable to some extent. But smart people do this thing called anticipating problems. And an idea isn't good unless you have solutions to those. But that takes some crafty thinking, a little planning ahead. So please, bro, get somebody in these meetings who's at least played a couple rounds of chess. Yo, I also did a video on the refs from the 2019 NFC Championship game, and it was pretty interesting. If you like this video, you should check that out next, but it kind of ties into the same theme. All right, man, I hope y'all enjoy. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.